I wanted to do a email review for you. I wanted to do some live streams because I just launched this new product. It's called Easy Way to $10 a day, and if you're interested in that, it's really cool. You can find it at easystartmemberships.com. It's right here on Substack. It's easy to find, and I got it reduced to $1 right now. It's crazy for the shiny old price of $1. You can get that product. And tomorrow, Sunday, I'll increase the price to $10. It'll go to $10 at the end of Sunday. So that's what I'm doing with that. So right now is a great time to pick that up if you want it. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to kind of do this email review. I printed this email off. This is an email I wrote today to promote this product, and I thought I would just talk to you about it and kind of like pull back the curtain of some of the things I was doing in this email, so you can understand where I'm coming from with my email marketing. And if anybody's on this call live, feel free to ask questions. Okay, so the way this email starts, it's the title, the subject line was he hit 150K debt from his wife, right? And I think that, first of all, this is a true story. This email is a true story, and it's meant to be a cautionary tale. The email is meant to be a cautionary tale. Like, you ever hear this kind of adage? I don't know where I first heard it, but basically, it goes, you can sell more life jackets by talking about the kid who drowned than you can by talking about the features and benefits of the life jackets. So that's cautionary tale. And, I've done email marketing campaigns where it was all cautionary tale. Like, every email was a cautionary tale. It was crazy. I don't think I've ever done an email marketing campaign where I used the same marketing angle for every email and got good results, except for that one. That is a special marketing angle that just seems to work over and over again. I don't suggest abusing any marketing angles. You should always switch them up. But I'm just saying the cautionary tale has a lot of power. So anyways, that being said, so the title, the subject line, he hit 150K debt from his wife. It's a stop sign, right? It's just meant to be a stop sign. Like, when you do a subject line or you do a headline for an article or whatever, it has one job, okay? And it's not to sell your thing. It's to get people to read the next thing or to get people to open the email. It's a stop sign. It needs to be a stop sign. Now, think about a stop sign. How many words is on a stop sign? Just one, right? Stop, right? So you can do the stop sign, you can do the subject line or the headline with just, minimal words. It doesn't have to be long, doesn't have to be wordy. There's a fine line between captivation and confusion. And if you confuse people, you repel them. And if you captivate them, you pull them in. So the idea of the subject line, the idea of the title, whatever, it's really meant to be a stop sign. That's a good way to look at it. Now, that stop sign thing is not something I made up. I heard that from Ben Settle. He was talking about that, and I thought it was a really good way to describe titles and subject lines. So anyways, that's my stop sign subject line. He hit $150,000 debt from his wife. So how does this start? Well, I always start the email with the exact same subject line. I always repeat my subject line when I start my emails. That's how I've done it for a long time. I think I learned that from Matt Basak, and if I'm pronouncing his last name right, but it's something that's worked well for me. So I always repeat the subject line in my email. The first thing I do is repeat the subject line. I always do that. But then it goes on to say, "Do you think you can help me, Cam?" Those were the words uttered by a desperate farmer turned would-be internet business owner. Now, this is a true story, okay? But the way I write this email is I dump people right into the middle of the action, okay? I dump them right into the middle of what was going on, right? Do you think you can help me? Those are the words uttered by a desperate farmer turned would-be internet business owner. See, this guy had hired me to help him make more money online. So now what am I doing? I'm doing exposition, right? I dumped him right into the middle of it with that first sentence, but then I go back and I'm giving him the backstory, right? See, this guy had hired me to help him make some more money online, but often when people used to hire me for things like this, they sometimes went into confession mode. I don't know why. It just happens that way sometimes. All true. All these things all happened. Anyways, the thing is, he hadn't earned a single dime yet. And not only that, he told me that he had racked up over $150,000 a debt in online courses, coaching, training, books, you name it. He had racked it up. This guy had invested in it, okay? But it got even worse because then he laid the real humdinger on me. This guy hadn't even told his wife about all the money he had spent, okay? Now I was confused, and I was confused, man. When this happened, I was like, huh? Um, but I'm not sure how you hide 150. I'm not sure how you hide losing $150,000 from your wife. And I didn't understand how he hid that from his wife. I mean, how do you hide losing 150K from your wife? But this dude must have had ninja-like skills because I don't think I could do that. And I told him so. Honestly, to this day, even as I'm recounting this story to you, I still have no idea how he hid that amount of debt from his wife. But anyways, that is neither here nor there. So what am I doing there? Well, when I talk about ninja-like skills and all that kind of stuff, I'm being kind of funny, right? I'm being kind of funny. It's kind of like this crazy story that's kind of hard to believe. It's true, but it's still, when people read that, they're going to see somebody who's probably in a worse position than they are. Okay. No matter what your position, you probably haven't racked up $150,000 in debt and hid it from your wife. I mean, you got a few things going on here. You might have wrapped up some debt, but you probably didn't hide it from your wife, or you might have hid something from your wife, but you didn't rack up 150K in debt. There's some compounding problems going on here. Okay. So ideally and generally, when people read this email, they see someone who's in a worse position than they are. Okay. And is often the case, right? With cautionary tales, you're talking about something, that is probably worse than what's going on with the people you're talking to. So anyways, that's neither here nor there. He wanted my help. Okay. What was my first piece of advice? So now I'm going into like the stuff that I told him. So what is this, right? I'm conveying something to people. It's almost like they get to be a fly on the wall. It's fly on the wall, man. And what is fly on the wall? Fly on the wall, man, that's a form of value, okay? When I start telling you the advice that I gave someone else right there in the email, I'm talking to you about it in the email, well, you're getting to be a fly on the wall for the advice I gave someone who paid me to give them advice. So this is perceived value, okay? So my first piece of advice, well, I told him he might as well tell his wife what he was up to. I find that owning where you are at with the people around you can take the pressure off a bit. At least you're not worried about hiding everything all the time. Now, I'm no marriage counselor, and I'm not sure if that advice actually helped him. I think she ended up leaving him. Yikes. But the thing is, making money online is hard. You can't be sneaking around trying to start an online business. You need the support of your inner circle. Now, what did I do there? I was transparent about the fact that advice might not have helped him because his wife ended up leaving him anyway. So that's transparency. All right. But also, it's just the truth, right? It's just the truth. I am telling you what I told him. This is what happened. So this transparency, it makes me more believable. It makes me more trustworthy to people. I'm giving you the good and the bad of what happened. All right. So this is powerful and it matters. All right. With the email marketing, it matters. Honestly, look, let's be honest. The truth will set you free, right? Honestly, in all things matters. But in email marketing, where people have such an easy time pretending to be things they're not, if you can be honest about things and you can be truthful, you can work that truthfulness into what you're doing, it can be very helpful. Let's move on. If they can't support you in what you want to accomplish, I'm talking about the inner circle here. If they can't support you in what you want to accomplish, then it's tough. You might have to let them go, right? I guess it comes down to how bad you want it. I figured this dude wanted it pretty bad to go into debt 150K. My second piece of advice, reduce your overhead. All right. So we're continuing on with this fly on the wall advice path where I'm allowing the people who are reading this email to be a fly on the wall and get in on this paid advice that this man received from me. So a lot of folks, my second piece of advice, reduce your overhead. A lot of these folks get started online, accrue too much overhead. Tools and softwares and bobs and bibs and whiz bangs and doodads. I'm being funny again, right? I'm being funny. Just talking about tools and softwares and bobs and bibs and whiz bangs and doodads. I'm being funny, man. In my experience, there's practically a free version for everything you need to get done online. Doesn't mean you can't use those free tools. Doesn't mean you can use those free tools forever. It pays to invest in your business. But I strongly believe in making your business pay its own bills as soon as possible. And while it can't pay its own bills, man, I'm as cheap as they come. And I always advise that for my clients as well. What am I doing there? I'm being transparent and I'm going against the grain. When I'm telling people that I'm a cheapskate and I advise them to be a cheapskate when their business isn't making any money, that's going against the grain for someone who's trying to sell something. Okay. When someone's trying to sell something to somebody, you think that they would be like heavy on invest as much as possible in your business. And not only that, invest in me and, give me thousands of dollars to help you with your business. That's the thing that you think would happen. So when I say things like, man, I'm as cheap as they come, and I always advise that for my clients as well, I am being counterintuitive. I am going against the grain, and this kind of thing grabs people's attention. Okay. Now, I want you to understand everything I'm saying is true. Everything I say in this email is true. Um, these are things I really did advise my clients, and I am as cheap as they come when my business isn't making any money yet. There's just no doubt about that. But what I'm saying is you have to learn to kind of like highlight the things that are true in your business that are a little different than what other people think. And that takes practice, okay? I'm not going to lie to you. It takes practice. You just have to kind of get used to doing it. So anyways, man, I'm as cheap as they come, and I always advise that for my clients as well. So what was my third piece of advice to this poor, unfortunate soul? That's humor, okay? That's humor. When I say, what was my third piece of advice for this poor, unfortunate soul? That's a reference to The Little Mermaid, okay? Ursula, the villain, she sings a song in The Little Mermaid talking about poor, unfortunate souls. She's mocking them. So I am slightly mocking this person a little bit in this email. Nothing hardcore, okay? It's just a little bit of a, like the kind of the way you poke fun at your buddy, okay? The way you'd poke fun at your body, that's the way you'd poke fun at your buddy, not your body, your buddy. It's humor, man. It's just a little bit of humor in the email. Well, it had to do with figuring out how he had invested so much and gotten so little results. It had to do with figuring out how he invested so much and gotten so little results. And to summarize that, it comes down to a couple of things. There might be problems that you are facing too. I don't know. Only you would know. So right there, what am I doing? I'm talking about the problems this guy had faced and how they might apply to you too. So what am I doing? I'm reminding people of the fact that I'm giving you value right now. I am pointing that out. I am subtly pointing out this is value I'm giving you. You're a fly on the wall right now. You're getting to see exactly what I told this guy. Okay. So this is a subtle reminder that, hey, this email is valuable to you. All right. So there might be problems that you're facing too. I don't know. Only you would know. But it came down to, one, not taking things seriously enough. To start a new online business, it takes relentless, imperfect action and a lot of focus. You really have to go all in. Take advantage of every opportunity. This whole hiding things from your wife, ridiculous. It would be impossible to dedicate the time and energy required to be successful when you're slinking around hiding your activities, okay? That's slinking around hiding your activities. It's funny, man, because when I wrote this email, my son and we had just watched the whole trilogy of the 2002 Spider-Man movies. We watched them one after the other. Like, I think it was like, what was it? Wednesday, we watched Spider-Man. Thursday, we watched Spider-Man 2. Friday, last night we watched Spider-Man 3. So when I was writing this, I was thinking about Spider-Man, and that's why I said slinking around, hiding your activities, because I was thinking of Spider-Man slinking around on the walls. It was funny to me. Anyways, 2, all right? Not enough focus on one thing. The other thing with him was that he had too many arms in the fire, okay? Too many shiny sales letters, whispering sweet nothings in his eager newbie ears. had him chasing about 1,000 projects is funny to me, right? When I say too many shiny sales letters, whispering sweet nothings into his eager newbie ears, had him chasing about 1,000 projects. That's funny to me. And then I go on to say half-assing all of them and really not getting anywhere. That's not how you do it. You have to keep the main thing the main thing. But regardless, it's a sad tale. I'd hate to see anyone else get to that point. If you're out there right now and you're struggling to make anything happen, and what am I doing right here? I am basically pointing out that this is a cautionary tale. I acknowledge that most of you guys probably are not this bad off. But if you are struggling, I hate to see you get this bad off. And what am I doing? I'm segueing into my pitch. I'm getting ready to segue into my pitch. I'm bringing it home. I'm landing the plane, as my pastor would say from church. I'm getting ready to land the plane. My new training might just be exactly what you need. The easy way to $10 a day. I've got this one priced at a massive discount too. All the way to a single dollar. All the way to a single dollar. Until the end of Sunday. Then I'll take her to $10, which is still a great deal, but it's just not as great as $1. Lesson number 1, money loves speed and decisive action. If you are too scared to risk $1, then I probably can't help you anyway. But for those about to rock, I salute you, and I'll see you in there. That last part, it's more tongue-in-cheek humor. I'm referencing AC/DC, that song, For Those About to Rock, We Salute You. And when I say, if you're too scared to risk $1, I probably can't help you anyway, man, that is meant to just really repel people who are cheapskates, too much of cheapskates, too scared to risk $1. This isn't for them. So I'm just repelling some people that I don't want to buy my thing. That's what's happening. So that was the email that I sent out this morning, and I just thought I would kind of like share it with you. The big takeaway from this email that I can tell you when it comes to selling, the big takeaway from this is cautionary tale. Cautionary tales are very, very powerful. And the second big, kind of like tactic that I was using this email was fly on the wall. So I'm using cautionary tale. I'm using fly on the wall. And, both of those things are powerful. But when you stack them together, they're even more powerful and they can help you sell things. So anyways, look, man, that's the email I sent out this morning. If you're interested in an easy way to $10 a day, it's really cool. I think it's my first paid training for Easy Start Memberships. Easy Start Memberships is my new business, easystartmemberships.com. Okay. And easy way to $10 a day is my first paid training for this new business. So I'm excited to get it out. And in celebration of that release, it's supposed to be $10, right? Because it's easy way to $10 a day. So I wanted the training to be $10. But I wanted to launch it at $1. Okay. So I wanted the resistance to be really low, for people who wanted it, so it's very cheap. If you're balling on a budget, it's $1, and, it's worth far more than $1. It's worth far more than $10, to be honest with you, but it doesn't really matter. I think it's fantastic. And, I hope you get some value out of it if you're watching this. And listen, man, I hope that you got value out of this live stream. You'll have to leave me a comment and let me know if you got value out of this live stream. If you have questions for me, ask me questions, man. I love to hear questions from people. And make sure you subscribe to me over on Substack. It's easystartmemberships.com. All right. Peace now.